Hello and welcome to yet another episode of A Week in Film. Uh, Before I start, I am very happy to see your guys' response to the last one with my wonderful co-host Jenny. Um, I saw the watch time numbers were up, and even if I don't have the Deadpool Week in Film numbers like I'd like to have on that video, I mean, 30 views is 30 views, and if you guys are watching for 10 minutes, then you're enjoying it for 10 minutes. So while I have your attention, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let me know what I can improve on. Let me know what you disagree with, what you agree with. If you want to argue with me about Deadpool, go leave comments in the comment section on that video. Introduce yourself, Jenny.
I'm Jenny. I was in the last video.
Yeah, that's Jenny, and I'm Franklin, as always. Only have 4 movies to talk about today.
And why is that, Franklin?
Yeah, we have been watching the Alien films in preparation for Alien Romulus, which, as of recording, came out today. But we both want to watch all of the Alien films just so we're as up to date as possible for Alien Romulus, even though Alien Romulus isn't based on the Alien films. You can go in completely blind and still enjoy it, or so I hear. But I just still wanted to kind of refamiliarize myself, and Jenny wanted to refamiliarize herself too.
I've never seen any of them before then.
Yeah, being completely new to the Alien films. So because of that, we're gonna do a special podcast for the Alien films. But until then, I'm making do with what we watched. So to start, I think I or maybe Jenny did.
We teased this.
Yeah.
We teased this in the last video.
Yeah.
You had to leave to watch a movie, and it was this one.
Yeah, on Sunday, August 11th, which was last week Sunday, I watched Lawrence of Arabia. So what do you know about Lawrence of Arabia, Jenny?
I know that it's 4 hours, and I would think it's boring.
Yeah, so Lawrence of Arabia is a World War I drama set in the Middle East. The Turks and the Arabs kind of fighting for power over there. I'd been meaning to watch this for ages, and I don't know why, just for a Fandango event or something. It was playing in my theater, so I decided, hey, I'm finally gonna watch it, and it's gonna be on a big screen. This is perfect. And before I get into the actual movie, I just have to talk about my experience in the theater. A similar thing happened when I watched Gone with the Wind. I was indeed the oldest person not the oldest person.
Not the oldest.
I was easily the youngest person in the theater for Gone with the Wind, and it was pretty much the exact same in this movie. Everyone around me was retirement home age, surrounded by a lot of old folk, a lot of old couples. It was just kind of cool to see a bunch of geezers who just appreciate film from their time, watching it in theaters. And I mean, I always enjoy being in the presence of old people. It's always nice to see how they react or react to the film. For example, one of the great things about Lawrence of Arabia is the score. The score is like monumentous and just super grandiose. I forget who it was composed by, but the score is really loud.
Composer Maurice Jarre.
Yeah, Maurice Jarre.
I think that's how you pronounce her last name.
Maurice Jarre, however you say it, I don't know.
Maybe.
One of the great things about their score is that it's really loud, and it's used really well in the movie. And the first time it plays, it kind of like out of nowhere just like bombards your ears with a huge, super loud cymbal crashing.
I would totally jump at that.
Yeah, I jumped too.
Yeah, I get scared.
I did indeed jump too, especially because you're in a theater, you know. And I could see an older woman who was sitting a row in front of me to my right, plug her ears as soon as the music started, and for the rest of the...
Like she knew it was coming?
No, like she didn't expect it, and she was covering her ears after it happened.
Right.
And for the rest of the movie, her hands were kind of hovering near her ears, ready to plug at a moment's notice. And you know, I'll even say it in my book review once I read it. It's Lawrence of Arabia is a hard movie to talk about because you'd think for a movie that's 4 hours long, it'd be kind of easy to just talk about anything. But so much happens in Lawrence of Arabia, and it's more of it's almost more of like a mock documentary than a movie. Because T.E. Lawrence was a real dude, and all of what happens in Lawrence of Arabia, if dramatized, sure, was at some point really happening. And it really puts into perspective how damaging World War One was not only for Europeans but for Turkish people and for the Arabs and for everyone. You really see the effects of war and the senseless slaughter of the Turks and like pure rage just consume the human being in this movie. Um, I think that's one of my favorite things about the movie is watching T.E. Lawrence or whatever the actor's name is.
Peter O'Toole.
Who?
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, watching Peter O'Toole change with his character throughout the film, going from a young, naive, hopeful man to being a war-scarred, decorated militia general, basically, and it was in so few words, just outstanding.
Mhm.
Also shooting on location in the Middle East is like crazy. Seeing these enormous, vast deserts and these huge sand dunes, it really gives a scale for how massive not only this war was, but just how massive the Middle East is. It's like, oh yeah, it's like 80 days there on camel, and it's like, oh, that's not so bad. It's crazy. The whole movie is filled with crazy little things like that, and I love the movie for that. The performances are great. The character writing, if you can call it that. I mean, I'm sure it's dramatized from who they were in real life,
Mhm.
but I think it's great. I'd ask what you thought, Jenny, but I know you didn't watch the movie, and I know you know,
And I never will.
and I know you know practically nothing about World War One, let alone
Whatever.
the Turkish battle in World War One. So I won't ask
Yeah.
for your opinion. Um, I think 4 hours is a little extreme, and this movie is definitely sort of
Mhm.
overrated. Um, it is still like
That's a
a
4.4 average.
yeah, it's a really highly rated film, and I think it's justified, but I don't think it has any place in a top four. I mean that's just me. Um, but I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. I mean, I hit everything I kind of want to hit. It's really just the scale and the giganticness of this movie that makes it as special as it is. Um, and to end with my review, I wrote, "It's incredibly hard to talk about a film based on true historical events with a runtime of 4 hours long, but I'll try. First off, far and away, the best trait of this movie is the enormous scale. Not only is the landscape they filmed on beautiful, jaw-dropping, and historically accurate, but the enormous cast makes it seem like a real-life war recording. Hundreds of thousands of camels and horses charging towards hundreds of Turkish soldiers, appropriately grand and harrowing to watch. The performances were excellent, and the story felt political and detailed, and for 4 hours it rolls right by. Watching T.E. Lawrence rise and fall while failing to truly help the Arabs at all is marvelously depressing and shows the true dangers of war." I gave Lawrence of Arabia a 10 out of 10. I love the movie. All the old people sitting in the room love the movie. How couldn't I enjoy it?
Mhm.
And what do you think, Jenny? What did you think of Lawrence of Arabia?
I thought it was a great movie, I gave it a 10 as well.
Yeah,
It
totally.
was a great theater experience,
Totally.
I was very locked in, and I didn't look away from the screen once.
Didn't even blink?
Nope.
Wow. Very impressive.
Impressive, I know.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'd say so.
well,
Anyway,
up next,
yeah, go ahead, Jenny. We both watched this one.
yes, we
Yeah, on
what's your name?
whose name? Oh, I'm Franklin, remember?
Franklin, yeah, Franklin.
We've
Sorry,
been
babe.
talking for months,
Can't
and
believe.
Jenny doesn't even remember my name. I think they're cheating on me or something.
Sorry, Franklin. No, I would never.
Yeah, liar.
Just don't ask. Don't ask the viewers about Dale.
I don't want to hear
Anyways,
any discussion about
on
Dale or Steph in the comment sections, or I will be blocking you from the YouTube channel. Thank you.
okay. On Monday, August 12th, we watched Ichi the Killer.
Yeah, so I mean, Ichi the Killer is a Japanese film. I'd been meaning to watch it for a while. I just really remember how I don't remember. I think I thought of Ichi the Killer as a different movie. I think mentally I mistook Ichi the Killer for a movie called One Cut of the Dead, which I think is a Japanese horror comedy. Um, but they were both yellow movies, so I was like,
Mm.
oh, these are probably the same, and this looks good. So before I get into my opinions, because I think we're on a pretty similar scale here, what did you think of Ichi the Killer, Jenny?
You know, some standout things for me was the cinematography and the outfits, of course. Um, the acting to me wasn't so great, but I can see how it adds to like the overall aura of the film. Um, the unrealistic effects, due to it being a manga beforehand, I thought that was really cool. Like the blood splattering out of the neck and like flying all over the room.
Right.
That was awesome.
I agree. Um, I mean, Ichi the Killer is in a lot of in many senses of the word an over the top senselessly violent movie, but I think it's
Hmm.
done just artistically enough to
Absolutely.
slide under the like cringy bar and come out as being genuinely cool and kind
Mhm.
of actually disturbing. Um, One thing that I wasn't expecting was for it to have such a heavy focus on sexual aspects.
Yeah, yeah.
I think in my head, unless it's a special kind of movie, I think directors and writers kind of shy away from really depraved sexual things, you know. Um,
Maybe my makers add unnecessary sex scenes to media.
yeah, exactly. uh, exactly, you know. I don't really commonly see like straight up degeneracy on the screen, but this movie does it, and it doesn't really shy away from it either. You
Oh
see
yeah.
you see a lot in this movie, a lot. You see a lot in this movie. There's a lot of like a lot of abuse of women, like really senseless and horrible,
And abusive men.
and plenty of abusive men. Yeah, you're sitting there,
Mhm.
kind of grabbing whatever you're sitting in, watching it, and you're like, "Ooh, I sure am happy that ain't me," you know. Um,
It's very gruesome.
yeah, it's very brutal and very over the top and very just like, man, I do not want to be that lady right now. I do not want to be in the room with that guy. Um,
Mhm.
and I think I think luckily it's done, like I said, just artistically enough to be cool and to feel purposeful and not just like, look how edgy we are kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um,
One scene that did really stand out to me, and this isn't a spoiler, but one of the main characters, Kakihara, his intro scene is him blowing smoke out of like the scars on his cheeks, and that was just so awesome. And it's a great way to introduce a character.
yeah, so what's so great about that scene, not only is it really visually cool, because watching a guy smoke and then blow the smoke out of two holes in his face is just like objectively cool. Um,
Mhm.
but but having it subtly introduced to the fact that the scars on his face aren't surface level and are all the way through into his mouth, I thought it was a really I want to say dynamic, but it's probably not the right word. I thought it was a really smooth uh uh really subtle like example or like showcasing of why his face looks like that, because what's his name again?
Kakihara?
Huh?
Kakihara?
Kakihara. Um I think one of his most noticeable traits, other than his insanity, is
Mhm.
his ridiculous looking face. He is scarred
But
all the
it's
way
kinda
up.
cool
It
looking.
is really cool. Like I
Yeah.
said, the Japanese are really good at walking that fine line between
Mhm.
like just cringy and being so like over the top that it's cool. And I think this movie does it perfectly. Um, like Jenny mentioned earlier, the over the top blood and like just like brutality and
Mhm.
gore. There are like multiple torture scenes in this movie that really don't shy back.
There's one scene.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's one scene where the guy just gets split in half from a heel of a booth, and that is just so awesome to see him like fall from the middle
I
into two pieces.
I really appreciate before Jenny told me, I didn't know that this movie was based off of a manga. But I think
Mhm.
because it's based off of a manga, it has a lot of um purposeful like replicated imagery directly from the manga into the movie. And
Mhm.
I think the way they did it works really well. Even if the CG is dated to an extent, I think it looks like almost purposefully dated in the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
way that you can appreciate like a PS2 game. I think that
Mhm.
Ichi the Killer's uh, much lower quality CG than the time probably allowed for was almost purposefully done to give it that timeless feeling that a manga or comic has. You know, it feels like no matter what, you could always watch the scene of the guy getting split in half, or two needles going into a guy's ear, and be like, "This is
Mm.
awesome." you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and title character Ichi. That's one thing neither of us have mentioned actually. I think
Yeah.
the character writing is pretty good. Um, Even if some characters feel really one-noted and hollow, the title character Ichi and the assassin guy who I forgot the name of again. Um,
KiIIer.
yeah, him. There you go. I think they're both written uniquely and well for what they're trying to
Mhm.
do. KiIIer is constantly trying to fill this unreachable sexual violent urge.
Mhm.
And Ichi is constantly battling this childhood trauma throughout the film, and I think it's done really well. Um,
Mhm.
and the score too. I thought the score was really like, I don't know how to put it. It was just like really intense. It fit the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it fit the movie perfectly for the kind of subject matter that it fell into. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean this movie doesn't shy back. It's Japanese insanity and brutality kind of all the way out on display, and I think it works out great for the movie.
Um, I did tell you before recording that I had a correlation that I didn't want to tell you about until we recorded to see your raw reaction.
Oh boy, hit me with it.
Um,
Hit me.
don't hate me. Um, this is mostly the intro scene, like the very beginning.
hmm
It reminded me of Chungking Express, your like favorite movie ever.
Now, would you remind me and some of the viewers who are not watching what the intro scene was?
It was like fast motion, blurry, kind of like how Chungking Express starts.
Mm.
And it's very green, it's in the streets.
Okay. So, first of all, you're racist because those are two completely different
No,
countries.
no, 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 no. I don't care about that. I'm saying that it looked similar in the way it was filmed.
Second of all, the intention behind it is not the same, so it's not even remotely close.
But it can look similar. On a surface level, it looks similar.
No. No.
You're crazy. You don't even remember the scene.
I remember it now, and I can tell you the Chunking Express one is done a lot better.
Well, absolutely, it's done better. But, like, I can't believe I just admitted that something is better from Chungking Express.
Yeah, I won. I won.
Anyways, it's definitely done better because they stick to it, and there's a guy in the frame running, so it adds more, like, it adds more, you
Yeah,
know?
it's just more for
But
the
in this,
eye.
it's kind of just,
I think
it's more,
it's like a cool stylized like intense trying to evoke your seizure to start. If you have epilepsy, do not watch Ichi the Killer. I think you'll die. Um
it was definitely hurting my head.
yeah, it's a very I don't want to say it cuz I'll sound like a old Christian parent, but it felt very like satanic. You know, It felt very like
Not quite, but sure.
I
It was
thought
just a lot of
so.
flashing.
It felt very okay, if not satanic, sadistic. It felt like
Sure,
with
yeah.
all the brutality and all the sexual violence and all the flashing crazy imagery and the super intense like metal soundtrack. It's like exactly what an early 2000s like the devils in the Call of Duty would absolutely hate for a movie. And I think it's done perfectly. I don't really have much else to say. Do you have anything to say?
Before recording before recording, you did mention I Saw the Devil. I don't know if you were serious about that comparison, but you're bringing up the devil once again, so do you have anything to say about that?
I think the only reason I really drew the comparison was because they both don't shy away from the it's gonna sound stupid, but the darker side of crime. You know,
Mhm.
uh KiIIer, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
KiIIer,
Kakihara.
yeah, whatever his name is. He is a Yakuza boss or a higher up in the Yakuza.
And, you
Obviously,
know, for the viewers, just for the viewers, what does that mean?
so the Yakuza um the Yakuza is equatable to the Japanese mafia or the
Okay,
Japanese cartel, whatever you want to call it. The Yakuza is just Japan's version of like organized crime.
sure,
He's
okay.
a high-ranking Yakuza guy, and you know, the Yakuza deal in prostitution and assassination and and beating people up and all this wickedness. So obviously, this guy is going to be a horrible, degenerate, like piece of scum person, and they don't shy away from it. He's shown as an
Mhm.
awful, wicked, evil man. You know,
Mhm.
he pours boiling hot oil on a guy for fun for with really no like like backing to
There's
why
no
he's doing it.
reason.
He just kind of
Well,
does
I
it.
mean, he's trying to get, like, information from
Well,
him,
he has like a hunch,
but
but
it's
it's nothing more than a hunch.
yeah.
You know, and there's a sense the senseless torturing of this random woman. They're like ripping her nipples off and shit. It's
Yeah.
crazy, you know. This movie's just nuts to watch. I actually don't have anything else to say about this movie now.
Yeah, me neither.
Um, I'll read my book review and then we can give our numbers.
Mhm.
I wrote, was not expecting anywhere near these levels of depravity. The film spotlights multiple different pleasures of the underworld, but the main two are brutality and sexual brutality. Pretty sure that's just like one in a subgenre of that same one. Um, the film walks an incredibly fine line between tasteful shockingness and meaningless gore. I think the main way it's able to strike the balance is the way the characters act around it, clearly getting a sick enjoyment from it all. The story is definitely over convoluted, and even if
Mhm.
it's partially a language barrier, it shouldn't have been that extreme. CG and
I did
practical.
feel lost for some of it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a language barrier, a lot of it. But I think it's
Mhm.
also just like the way a manga is written, I guess. This would, it'd
Right.
probably be easier to read something like this than to
Mhm.
turn it into a movie because you can just flip back 2 pages and be like, oh, that's what his motivation is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I wrote uh, uh, CG and practical effects rocked, both aging well in their own ways, and the performances were wonderfully sick, and the score was appropriately oppressive, super edgy, super extreme, super cool. I mean, the only reason that this movie is a drumroll 7 out of 10 is because I think the story was a little over convoluted. Other than that, I think it's a great vehicle for over the topness and brutality. uh
Mhm. I also gave this a 7 out of 10.
yeah. I'm glad I watched it though. I'd been kind of meaning to watch it for a
Yeah.
while and it lived up to the expectations that I had. If you like watching people get huge chunks of their bodies cut off for almost no reason most of the time, you'll definitely like Ichi the Killer. Um, anyway, are you ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. The next movie we watched on August 13th, which landed on a Tuesday this week. We didn't watch it at the same time, but we watched
No, I just watched this.
Terminator, or The Terminator, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So for context, I've seen this film at least 3 times. This is by no means my first viewing. My father really likes this movie, so I grew up kind of liking it too. What did you know about The Terminator before watching, Jenny?
It's a movie I've always wanted to watch, but I just never did. Like, it's obviously been talked about in my house with my parents and grandparents, but I never really knew, like, what it was until I watched it. I had no clue what I was getting into.
So, one of the best things about The Terminator to me is, it's gonna sound silly, but it's style. The Terminator, a lot of what makes it so just amazing and awesome, and I think you'll agree with me here, is its atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's run down, nighttime LA streets look is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I love how dirty LA looks. I love how violent everything is. I love how heartless the Terminator obviously is. It just feels really just like, man, I wouldn't want to live there right now. Even the opening scene with the future war in 2029. We're getting there, and I don't know. Even the future scenes, everything just feels so crushing. In a great way. It establishes real consequences, and it makes you care about what is admittedly a very silly science fiction plot. What did you think, Jenny?
I wrote down a lot about this movie. I've kind of been taking notes so I can have more proper thoughts.
Great.
The first thing I noticed is the lightning effects. It obviously doesn't look good, but I thought it looked horrible.
I disagree.
Like, where's lightning coming from?
It's coming
just
from the
kind
ball.
Of shooting a ball.
The ball that they teleport through.
Okay, well, it looked bad to me. It looked out of place, and it was not coming from anywhere. But I still loved it.
Do you know how they did lightning back then?
No.
Before CG, to do lightning, they would get the film and draw it on.
It looks like, it looks like.
So it's just like white marker. It's just like a white Sharpie.
Marker, sure.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I ever heard Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice.
Schwarzenegger, yeah.
That's the first time I ever heard his voice, I realized.
Have you seen him
in anything
else?
I was not expecting it. I think I've seen him in a few things, but nothing where he's like a main role. Just like
cameos and stuff.
Yeah. I've at least like heard of pretty much all of his movies.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I've ever heard his voice.
What'd you think of it?
The movie itself, I liked it. It was better than I was expecting. I didn't think I would like it too much. It was overall just like a really cool movie, and I mean, you saw this with your dad in theaters.
Yeah.
And it's totally a dad movie.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Absolutely. I didn't recognize a lot of the scenes, like the settings. I don't know if they were the same. A big one was the alleyway where they're like driving, and what's his name?
Who, Kyle?
Kyle is running, and he's like naked in the alleyway.
Yeah.
That scene looks like some movie. I can't remember what. But I watched it recently. That looks like the exact same alleyway. Like it was just from, like, Hollywood.
Well, I mean,
the same thing.
It is just like LA. You just walk down that alleyway now, you know?
And another one. This one's more, like, kind of a reach, but it was the same, like, vibe as well as same things happening. In the first episode of Umbrella Academy, they're being chased around by, like, these future, like, timekeepers, right? And they're in a store, and it's really dark, and they have flashlights and guns, and it's loud shooting, and they're like hiding in the clothes. And that same looking store was in Terminator.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It was kind of cool. It was really cool to see something so similar. Even the street, it looks the exact same.
It's always nice to recognize imagery from another piece of media in whatever you're watching at the time.
Mhm. And I actually did find this parts of this movie pretty funny. I was giggling because like they'll shoot Terminator and have it written down as it's funny when someone shoots him and he's just like, "What?" W-A-T with capital 0 underscore lowercase 0, like the face.
Yeah,
That's just that's how he reacts, and it's just so funny to me.
it is kind of. He gets like almost personally insulted when you shoot at him. He gets like upset that you shot at him. He'll I'm thinking of the scene in the police station where he's getting shot by a
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of
me
people,
too.
and he just turns his head real angry and just blasts them away. I think
It's really
it's
awesome.
just kind of silly and funny. Um, did you think this movie was scary at all, or unnerving at least?
Um, like thrilling, sure, but it wasn't like horrifying.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you about a couple scenes, and I just want to know what you think. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, what'd you think about the eyeball scene?
I thought it was gross, but it didn't make me like ick.
Did you notice it was claymation?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I don't know much about that kind of stuff. I was paying attention, but I don't know much about that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to mansplain or anything. And
You're good at that, so it's
yeah, I
okay.
am very good at that. For the audience too, Um, before CG was really a possible thing, a lot of movies would use claymation as substitutes because you could make pretty good looking claymation animations that look almost lifelike and just kind of slot them into your movie. And the only way you'd really notice it is an FPS change. So I think for a great example in Jurassic Park, the every scene with the T-Rex was originally supposed to be claymation before they found out a way to animate it with the one of the first CG um, programs. You can see claymation and film being mixed together in a bunch of older movies like that, especially when there's a scene that an actor physically could not do. As much as Arnold Schwarzenegger would probably love to cut out his eyeball for real, probably couldn't do it for some legal reasons. I think the way he looks in that scene, if I'll remember, I see, guys, I really like this movie. You can tell. I'll try and flash it up on the video if I can remember. But
Uh-huh.
the scene where he is carving out his eye, he looks so pasty and so like
Yeah, he looks fake.
and so pale and so like disgusting and inhuman that it almost looks like so unrealistic. It's like uncanny valley scary. Like
Yeah,
a human
exactly.
being should not look like that. Like you can just look and tell, you know?
Well, I mean, he's not a human.
Yeah, I know, but the person playing him is a human, and a human should not look
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, we lost the plot there. What did you think about the whole police station sequence?
That was awesome. When he's just aimlessly shooting the Uzi. Oh my god, I was like, jaw dropped. That was such a cool scene.
That was pretty awesome, just blasting away.
Mhm.
What'd you think
Yeah.
about the car chase?
I have that scene written down here too. I was gonna bring that up. I have it written down. It's so cool. It just looked great. I love chasing scenes in any movie.
It feels really practical, as silly as it sounds. It's like
Mhm.
some two guys were really in that car and they were just beaming down closed streets in LA.
Mhm.
It's just really cool.
And the quick turns, it's almost drifting.
Yeah, like the
It's just-
drifting turns.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really stylish, and that's aided by the movie mainly taking place at night. And then I have two more scenes for you. What did you think
Right.
about the ending sequence in the factory?
I thought. Wait, okay. This is kind of a spoiler. I did get a bit distracted. My mom was texting me. Does Kyle die in that scene?
Yes.
I didn't realize, like, if he was just blowing him up and he got away or if he did actually die.
No, they zipped his body
I
up
was
in a body bag.
I didn't see that, you know? Sorry, I should have paid more attention. But I was like, "Oh, I hope he doesn't die." But I think it was cool, like, the setting was cool, and how she pulls, like, that piece of metal out of her leg, that was pretty
Really
gross.
nasty, yeah.
Mhm.
What'd you think about Sarah Connor's awesome closing line? You texted me it?
Oh, okay.
Can you say
You
it, please?
terminated fucker.
Yeah.
That's so good.
How awesome is
Another
that?
line I want to bring up is when they're in the car during the chase scene,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "You've been targeted for termination." I don't know why, but that one stood out to me, and I thought it was so cool.
The movie is called Terminator. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of
and
like a cool.
she's like, "Oh my god, it's finally making sense to her."
It's just like a cool little like, oh, they're saying the title of the movie almost.
Yeah.
And then finally, what did you think of the like 2 or 3 scenes that take place in 2029, like the future war stuff?
Those look like great. I like. Okay. I don't want to say this on your YouTube, but again, I like 3 men. Like when male
You like
actors
what?
have, like,
One more
dirt on
time?
their face.
One more. You
I'm
kind
not
of lagged
saying that
out. One more
again. I'm
time.
not saying that again.
Say it again.
No. Anyways,
For the
when male
record,
actors have dirt
Jenny-
on their face.
Jenny loves dirty men.
Not like that. It's just like they have dirt on their face. They're like fighting a war. I think it just looks great.
Mentally ill.
Yeah. Michael Bain, however you say his
Who?
last name.
Kyle Reese? Is that who it is?
He looks, yeah, Kyle Reese. He looks great in those scenes.
Yeah. I mean, the future scenes in this movie are like a technological marvel. You're completely you completely buy into the setting and all the human skulls getting crushed by the big ass hunter killer machines. It's so cool. You know, and then I had one more scene in mind, but I forgot. Oh yeah. What did you think about the I guess you'd call it the intro scenes for both of them?
For who?
For Terminator or for the T-100 and the 101 and the and Kyle Reese. Like they're like spawning in
Okay,
scenes.
honestly, right. I thought it was cool. I was confused why they were naked. You can literally see his dick flopping around.
I think that's like the best part.
And how he punches that guy in the stomach and it like goes all the
He
way
rips his
through,
heart
that was
out.
pretty Cool.
He rips his heart out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I did think they were like brothers or like the same people from different time periods. I was really confused.
Media literacy is dead. Dead and buried.
Sorry. Whatever.
I mean, I would ask more, but I haven't been talking enough. I'm getting antsy.
Yeah, go on.
I think probably my 2 favorite scenes or like moments, I guess. They're more of moments than scenes. Is well, first when the Terminator almost kills Sarah in the Tech Noir Club.
That was awesome.
I think it's
that's when it was like getting my heart beating, and I was kind of
it's a super cool action set piece, and watching him pull out his fucking awesome 1911 with a laser sight and slowly point it at her forehead, and then have Kyle whip over the counter with his sawed-off shotgun. I was sitting there geeking in the theater, guys. You have no idea how awesome it was to watch this movie in the theater. And then the other scene is it's like really specific, but when they're throwing pipe bombs at Terminator and he's in the oil truck, and they finally get him, and all of his skin melts off, and he's just the skeleton.
And then he comes out, he like rises up.
Yeah, he like rises out of the fire. I think that the like robot there, or the whatever it is there, looks outstanding. Everything like
Absolutely.
everything robotic in this movie just looks so good. Like it looks so cool. And then also the this is a really specific thing. I'll try and throw this up too if I remember. There's this scene where Terminator is after he's has all skin melted off, is limping towards the door to the factory, and they're closing the door as he's running at them, and they stop motion, like they claymation stop motion, the Terminator limping at the door, and for some reason every time I see it, it like switches a switch, or it flips a switch in my brain.
Flipper.
Yeah, it flips
What did I just say?
it flips
It flippers.
it flips a switch in my brain that just gets me so scared. It's like inhuman levels of fear. I mean,
You're just a baby.
yeah, I'm baby basically. I'm very afraid of robots coming to kill me. I think personally, I think stylistically, and like art wise, I think Terminator, or The Terminator, is a better film than Terminator 2. But just as a complete package, I think Terminator 2 is the better of James Cameron's 2 Terminator movies. And on a side note, completely, I think it's really cool that in both of the Avatar movies, you can see direct inspiration from almost every movie James Cameron has directed. In the Avatar movies, they really feel like the penultimate point in his career. It feels like it's a celebration of all of his works while simultaneously making something new and great. But off that complete side tangent, the music was excellent. The main score is iconic. You could hum it, or I don't know what you'd call it. I guess just sing it, I guess. And whoever's near you would kind of instantly know what you're referencing. It's the pinnacle of like 80s iconography, and it's a great one. Like it's wonderful that this movie is as popular as it is, because it's so unique and so weird, and so just like there's so much technical mumbo jumbo that like Kyle spits out that doesn't mean anything. That when you're listening to it, you're like, this is so cool. Like in the interrogation scene in the police station.
Police station?
Yeah. He's explaining, it's like nothing dead goes through. We have dogs to sniff them out. Blah blah blah. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much else to say about it. I do, but I could rant about this movie for an hour. It's just that important to me. Anything else for you, Jenny?
No, that's everything.
No other scenes that stood out to you?
The explosion of the truck was cool.
The oil tanker.
Like when
yeah.
he throws it in the little pipe in the back.
Yeah. Cool. Could you say it one more time for me, please? The iconic Sarah, the iconic Sarah Connor line. Can you say it one more time?
I got you. Are you ready?
Do your best impression. Best impression.
I don't remember how she sounded.
She's like,
Benny, please.
She goes like,
my cat Benny is.
He's geeking. She's like, imagine you were just stabbed in the leg, and something that was trying to kill you for the last 3 days is chasing after you, and you're finally about to kill it. And you have this one.
Get terminated, fucker. No.
Wasn't it you're terminated?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was quite excellent. And before it wasn't that good, guys. Before I wrap up my thoughts for this movie, or we wrap up our thoughts with the book review, I just have to say the theater experience was wonderful. Really packed theater. It's really great to see a lot of very young faces watching that movie, because having your first experience of the Terminator and all that on the big screen is something I could only dream of. Nothing else to say, Jenny?
Nope.
Let me read my book review then. I think I'm trying to trick myself into liking this first film more than the second one. Because of the film's smaller scale, at least compared to the second film, which feels like a true blockbuster, it feels so much more personal and intimate. The film taking place at almost exclusively nighttime makes everything more stylish, and everything much more desolate. LA feels like an empty, dead city, and other than the homeless folk or the occasional cops, It feels like an almost one-on-one struggle between man and machine for the fate of the future. Obviously, the score is outstanding, and the series selling points being intimidating, but with the series selling points being intimidating but hopeful. The limited use of stop motion, too, looks dated, sure, but adds so much personality and uniqueness to the film. Baller 80s flick. I gave this movie a 9 out of 10.
And I gave this a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even want to talk about the next movie because I just have so little to say. I guess we'll jump right into it. Jenny did not watch this one, unfortunately. But let's give you a time, on August 15th, Thursday of 2024, I watched in theaters for the Back to 1984 event at the Cinemark, Purple Rain with my parents. So, before I take over almost completely, Jenny, do you know anything about Prince, or do you have any opinions on him?
Of course I do. I mean, I have a Purple Rain shirt. Uh,
Wow.
I grew up listening to Prince. My mother loves him. I do remember this movie being on when Prince died, or like around when he died, and we were kind of watching it. And my grandparents were in the room. And they're kind of like, "Oh, I remember this about him," and they're just kind of being reminiscent of him.
Sentimental.
Yeah, sentimental.
Yeah, so I mean, my parents love Prince. They're constantly playing him on a, what's it called?
A speaker.
No. What's the music streaming one called? Pandora. My parents still use Pandora, guys. No, they're constantly playing him on the thing though, and I mean, from what I've heard, I like his music. He's a very soulful, passionate singer. And I went into Purple Rain expecting something completely different. So first off, I thought this was written, directed by, and starring Prince. It turns out some random French dude directed Purple Rain that I've never heard of. He directed like 4 other movies. Go ahead.
Amelie being his main one. Nope, sorry, I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, he was just
Ignore everything I just said.
He directed like 4 random action movies and then never did anything else. Why Prince chose him, I don't know. But I mean, Prince as an actor is pretty good in this movie. It acts like almost as a biopic, I guess. Even though it's not, because it is actually Prince in the movie. It's legit him. It's not someone playing him. I guess you can't really call it a biography. It's more like of a auto-biopic. I guess it, because I mean,
it's labeled just as a drama.
I mean, it is like a story first, and I mean, I'm sure it's based on Prince's life, maybe not beat for beat, but loosely anyway. A very abusive household, struggles with women and with self-worth, and his father especially. There's a lot of drama in this movie, but the problem is that I obviously do not know the writer. Who or the name of the writer of this movie, whatever his name is.
The director in William Blinn.
William Lynn?
Blinn with the B.
Oh, William Blinn. Yeah, so the people who wrote this movie don't know what a movie is. This is written a lot like a stage play. In the way that it's like the same 4 locations over and over again, but kind of changing context each time. My problem with this movie is that it functions better as a celebration of his music than an actual story, and it feels harsh to criticize a movie for, especially a movie like this, which is, in all effects, a music movie. It feels kind of pointless to criticize it. That was just a little loud. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, so sorry.
It feels just a little harsh to criticize it for its filmmaking techniques, but you can't call it even a Fox concert film when
A phone.
I'm saying Fox. You can't even call it a Fox bio or shit. You can't even call it a Fox concert film when more than half of the movie is not music based. It's trying to be like a a parental romantic music rivals genre movie, but it ends up being more of a like a melodramatic drama. You could still call it that. Bad things do certainly happen in this movie. You know, his dad kills himself. Um, and just knowing that, you know, this great singer eventually dies, as silly as it sounds, is very sad to watch. Because this movie ends with his first performance of Purple Rain, which really blew him into stardom. And listening to Prince's vocals and watching what's basically a live stage performance of it is breathtaking. The highs in this movie are stratospherically high. I don't think that's a word. But the lows of this movie are Earth's core low. The drama feels very, you know, like I said, it feels like a melodrama. Nothing feels like it really matters. Prince himself is not a very likable character. He plays a very mean-spirited, locked in his ways, kind of jerk, as horrible as it is to say. You know, I mean, no disrespect to the man. He was an excellent musician and songwriter and singer, but his like personal character, he was like just kind of a crappy dude. But you know, I mean, every singer kind of is. You don't get anywhere unless you're a little mean. I mean, I honestly, I don't have much else to say about the movie. You know, there were some funny moments in my theater experience with my parents and a bunch of people around my parents' age all cackling at the film and singing along to each song. I thought it was kind of cute. That's what I imagine parents feel like when they take their kid to a Paw Patrol movie or something. You know, like, oh, they're having fun. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say. You know, if you like Prince's music, you'll love this movie. And even if you just like Prince's movie, you'll think this movie's at least fine. Personally, there were a few too many, not egregious, but just unforgivably boring bits of the movie, to give it a higher rating than what I'm about to give it. Excuse me. But I'm just gonna read my book review and get it out of the way. Quote, with the way Ma and Pa were hyping it up, I was really expecting more from this flick. Overall, I'd say I enjoy Prince's music, and for the longest time, I was under the impression this film was written by and starring Prince. But turns out it's just some dude. My biggest problem is that this film can't decide what it wants to be. As a result, it feels sloppy. The actual movie part was almost laughably bad, with pretty much no character being likable. It feels like things are just sort of happening, and progression is one of the biggest problems in this film. And saying all that, every scene where Prince actually performs music is fantastic, straight up. Nothing really feels all that impactful, and this movie can only really get by if you're a huge Prince fan. I gave this movie a 5 out of 10. I don't have much else to say about the movie. Watch it if you like Prince, and ask your dad if he likes Prince, and if he does, watch it with him, because he'll love it. Or your mom, you know? Any person older than you that was born around that time, I'm sure they'll love it. But anyway, that is 4 of 4. This video is still much longer than I thought it'd be. I guess we were talking about Terminator and Ichi the Killer for a while.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, if you guys are enjoying it, then I'm glad I can give you more nonsense to listen to. I don't have anything else to say. Do you have anything to say, Jenny?
May I tease a possible upcoming video?
Yeah, go for it.
Guys, okay, Franklin is usually the one picking these movies, and I'm just like, sure, let's go. But I have convinced him to let me pick out a full week of movies that we watch. So it's gonna be a full video.
Can you believe it?
Based on movies I wanted to watch. Maybe some that I have seen and Franklin needs to watch them. I might punish him. Not punish him, but I might, you know, force him to watch Pitch Perfect.
Oh man, no, please.
I might go easy on him. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
So if the next video is like steaming hot ass, you'll know that it was all Jenny's fault.
Yeah, I'll take full credit of that.
But you know, it's important to let everyone have a say, I guess, even if their say is wrong.
Mm-mm.
That's pretty much the end of the video, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
if you stuck with us for all 53 odd minutes of this video, just on 4 movies, then you are a trooper. I know I'm rambling a lot more than I normally do, but you know, I'm still getting used to recording with another person, and especially someone this important to me. I do get just a little nervous. I just hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed both of our takes on the movies that we did see. I hope you are looking forward to the Alien retrospective discussion, whatever you want to call it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to be done with these movies. Spoiler alert, guys. Alien 3 is not a good movie. Sorry, Alien Cubed. Alien Cubed is not a good movie. Anyway, I mean, I don't have much else to say. How about you take us out of it?
Well, guys, thank you for watching.
Be sure to ask them to subscribe.
Please, guys, please. I need his money. Please subscribe so I can take all his money. Well, I think that's it. I will see you in the theaters. Subscribe. Bye. Your mic's totally cutting out right now.
That's okay. I was screaming too
guys,
loud,
he said,
guys.
please subscribe. Please.
Yeah, please. I'll do it far away. Subscribe.
I think that's the problem. You're too far away.
Oh, no, I was really... Okay, hold on. Please subscribe. I think my voice goes too high and it blows out the speakers or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, please subscribe, guys. This video is way too long already. Bye.